You're a slice of bacon on a summer frying pan. The sun is the stove, the heat is the oil, and you're about to get flipped. Except there's no chef to rescue you. That sizzling feeling you get after a few minutes under a blazing sky? That's the universe giving you a sneak preview of heat stroke, the most dramatic, not so fun way your body decides to turn itself into a human sous vide. Now, before you start wondering whether you should add salt and pepper, let's get one thing straight. Heat stroke isn't a culinary delight. It's a medical emergency that can scramble your brain faster than you can say, "I'll have my coffee iced." In this video, we're going to break down exactly what heat stroke is, why it happens, how to spot it, and most importantly, what you can do to avoid becoming a human toast. Grab a cold drink, find a shady spot, and let's dive in. We promise, after this video, you'll be able to spot heat stroke faster than you can spot a melt-in-your-mouth ice cream on a hot sidewalk. Heat stroke is the most severe form of hyperthermia, which is just a fancy way of saying your core body temperature has risen above the safe zone. Normally, your body keeps its internal thermostat around 37 degrees Celsius, 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, thanks to a network of sweating blood flow adjustments and the occasional complaint from your brain. When the external heat load overwhelms these cooling mechanisms, your temperature can skyrocket to 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, or higher, and that's when things get dangerous. At these temperatures, proteins in your cells start to denature. Think of them as tiny origami that lose their shape, and that can cause organs to malfunction, including the brain. In extreme cases, the heat can cause proteins in your cells to denature, meaning they lose their shape and function, like a folded paper airplane that's been unfolded into a crumpled mess. When proteins can't do their jobs, organs such as the heart, kidneys, and brain can start to fail, leading to potentially permanent damage. In medical terms, heat stroke is defined as a core body temperature above 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, accompanied by central nervous system dysfunction, such as confusion, seizures, or coma, often after exposure to a hot environment or strenuous activity. It's not just a bad case of sunburn, it's a full-blown medical emergency that can cause lasting damage or even death if left untreated. The key difference from other heat-related illnesses like heat exhaustion is the presence of altered mental status and the severity of the temperature rise. So what pushes your body over the edge? The recipe for heat stroke usually has three main ingredients: high ambient temperature, high humidity, and a heavy workload. When the mercury climbs above 32 degrees Celsius, 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and the humidity makes the air feel like a wet blanket, your sweat can't evaporate efficiently, and your cooling system stalls. High humidity is especially tricky because it prevents sweat from evaporating, leaving you feeling like you're wrapped in a wet towel that never dries. Throw in a vigorous activity, like running a marathon, chopping wood, or trying to beat your high score on a treadmill, and your body generates extra heat on top of what's coming from the environment. Dehydration is the secret sauce that ties everything together. When you're low on fluids, your blood volume drops, reducing the ability to transport heat to the skin. Alcohol is another sneaky ingredient. It messes with your perception of heat and impairs sweating, making you less aware that you're cooking. Certain medications, such as beta blockers, diuretics, or anticholinergics, can also sabotage your cooling mechanisms. And if you're a child or an older adult, your body's thermostat isn't as sharp, so you're more likely to overheat. In short, it's a perfect storm of external heat, internal heat, and a few bad choices. Now, how do you know when you've crossed from "I'm a little warm" to "I'm in trouble"? The hallmark of heat stroke is a core temperature above 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, but you won't have a thermometer handy on a hiking trail. Luckily, your body sends out some pretty loud alarm bells. One of the first signs is altered mental status. You might feel confused, irritable, or start speaking in tongues. Literally, you could slur your words or lose the ability to concentrate. You might also experience dizziness, nausea, or a headache that feels like a drum solo in your skull. Your skin can give you a clue too. In classic or dry heat stroke, the skin is hot and dry because sweating has stopped, a sign that your body's cooling system has crashed. In exertional heat stroke, the skin is often moist, even clammy, because you're still sweating but can't keep up with the heat. Kids are also prone to showing less obvious signs. They may become unusually cranky, refuse a drink, or have a flushed face, so keep a close eye. Other red flags include a rapid heartbeat, over 130 beats per minute, rapid shallow breathing, and low blood pressure. In severe cases, you might have seizures, collapse, or slip into a coma. If you see someone with these symptoms, especially after being in the heat, assume it's heat stroke until proven otherwise. Quick action can be the difference between a funny story to tell friends and a trip to the ER. It's easy to confuse heat exhaustion with heat stroke, but the distinction could save a life. Heat exhaustion is the milder cousin. Your temperature is elevated, usually below 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, and you still sweat. You'll feel weak, have a headache, nausea, and maybe some cramps, but your brain is still mostly functional. Heat stroke, on the other hand, is the dangerous version where your core temperature spikes and your brain starts to misfire. The skin may be dry or sweaty, but the mental changes are the key clue. Bottom line, if the person can't think straight, you're dealing with heat stroke. If you're enjoying this deep dive into heat stroke and want to see more life-saving tips, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, drop a comment below telling us your hottest summer story. We love hearing from you. Press the bell icon so you won't miss the next video. Not everyone has the same risk of winding up as a human oven. Certain factors turn up the heat. Age is a big one. Infants and toddlers don't sweat as efficiently, and older adults have less robust thermoregulation. Chronic health conditions like heart disease, obesity, or diabetes can impair the body's ability to handle heat. Medications that affect blood pressure or sweat production, think beta blockers, diuretics, antipsychotics, can also tip the scale. Alcohol, especially when consumed in the sun, is a double whammy because it dehydrates you and blunts the thirst signal. A lack of acclimatization is another sneaky factor. If you move from air-conditioned offices to a hot climate without a gradual buildup, your body never learns to cool itself efficiently. The good news is you can keep heat stroke at bay with a few simple tricks. First, stay hydrated. Drink water before you feel thirsty, because by then you're already a bit behind. Aim for at least 1 cup, 240 milliliters, every 20 minutes when you're active in the heat. Second, dress for the occasion. Light-colored, loose-fitting clothes made of breathable fabric. Let air do its job. Technical fabrics that wick moisture away from the skin are great, but avoid cotton that stays damp. Wet cotton can actually trap heat like a blanket. A wide-brimmed hat and sunglasses are the stylish accessories of choice. Third, time your activities wisely. Save your jog, hike, or outdoor yoga for the cooler parts of the day. Early morning or late evening. If you must be out at noon, take frequent breaks in the shade and consider using a fan or a portable misting fan. Fourth, don't skip the acclimatization. If you're heading to a hot destination, give your body a week to adjust by gradually increasing your exposure. Finally, keep an eye on your buddies. If they start looking like they're auditioning for a zombie film, check for signs of heat illness and act fast. If you suspect someone has heat stroke, act fast. This is a medical emergency. Call emergency services right away. While you wait for help, move the person to a cooler spot, ideally an air-conditioned room or at least a shaded area. Remove any excess clothing to help heat escape. Start cooling them rapidly. Apply ice packs or cold water to the neck, armpits, and groin. These are the body's cooling hotspots. If you have a tub or a bucket, you can immerse them in cool, not ice-cold water, but be careful not to cause shivering, which can generate more heat. Never use ice-cold water directly on the skin for a long time. It can cause frostbite and trigger shivering, which produces more heat. Fan the person to increase airflow and encourage evaporation. Do not give fluids by mouth if they're unconscious or confused. You don't want them choking. Keep monitoring their temperature if you can, and stop cooling once it drops below 38 degrees Celsius, 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit, to avoid overcooling. The goal is to bring the core temperature down quickly but safely. Once professional help arrives, the treatment typically continues with intravenous fluids to restore hydration and electrolyte balance. In the hospital, doctors may use more advanced cooling methods like cold water immersion, ice packs, or specialized cooling blankets. They'll also monitor for complications such as organ damage, heart arrhythmias, or blood clotting issues. After the acute phase, the patient is usually observed for 24 to 48 hours to ensure that the internal organs are recovering. Rest, rehydration, and a gradual return to normal activity are key. Most people recover fully with prompt treatment, but delayed care can lead to lasting problems like kidney injury or neurological deficits. Let's bust a few myths. Myth 1. You only get heat stroke in the desert. Wrong. Any hot, humid environment can be a trap, even a stuffy indoor room. Myth 2. Drinking ice-cold water will instantly cure heat stroke. Not quite. While hydration helps, you need rapid cooling of the body, not just a cold drink. Myth 3. If you're sweating, you can't have heat stroke. False. Exertional heat stroke often occurs with heavy sweating, especially early on. Myth 4. You can't get heat stroke in the shade. Still false. Prolonged exposure to high temperatures, even in shade, can overwhelm your cooling system. Knowing the truth can keep you safe. Picture this. Jack decided to host a hot dog challenge in his backyard. Literally, hot dogs on the grill, while he tried to beat the heat by doing jumping jacks in a full winter coat. Within 20 minutes, he was wobbling, slurring his words, and declaring the hot dogs were too cold. Long story short, an ambulance ride later, and he now owns a fan that he actually uses. Moral of the story: don't try to be a human kebab. Here's a startling number. In the United States alone, heat waves cause about 1,200 deaths per year, and heat-related illnesses account for thousands of emergency room visits. The CDC reports that the majority of heat stroke cases happen in the first few days of a heat wave before people get used to the new normal. In 2022, a record-breaking heat wave in the Pacific Northwest pushed temperatures above 46 degrees Celsius, 115 degrees Fahrenheit, in some spots, leading to a spike in heat-related emergencies. Even in cooler climates like the UK, heat waves are becoming more common, and hospitals are seeing a rise in heat stroke admissions. In fact, a 2021 study in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that the risk of heat-related illness jumps by 30% for every 5 degrees Fahrenheit rise above the average summer temperature. So whether you live in a scorching desert or a normally mild region, it pays to be prepared. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you understand heat stroke a little better, give it a thumbs up and share it with friends who might need a reminder. And don't forget to subscribe for more health and safety content. See you in the next one. Bonus fact: the highest recorded human body temperature was a jaw dropping 115 degrees Fahrenheit, 46.1 degrees Celsius, in a 1980 case. Yes, that's hotter than most saunas. The patient survived thanks to rapid medical intervention.